Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We have primed and sealed the sandpiper, and now we're moving on. I'm going to start putting washes on here, but first I'm going to show you a couple steps we need to do just before we start that. But this is what it should look like, okay? I'm trying to say to you, when you put the white on, you have ghosting, what I call ghosting, which is showing the feathers underneath, okay? In the same way in this area here too. You don't want to get it, right in here. You don't want to get so white in here that you can't see these feathers, because we're going to have to mark them up, okay? And here's one. It's got a little heavier white on it. It just happened to come out that way when the paint took, and that's what happens sometimes. But I could still see the feathers underneath there, because when I go to mark these out to identify the markings on the bird, you could still see it pretty readily. This side is much more pronounced with the markings, okay? Either one will work. I'm just saying to you that I don't want it, like in the breast area, we are all white in here, okay? I don't know if you remember, there was a streak within the wood, and we've covered that up because we have a good amount of white in this area, and we had stone this area. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that people have written to me about, and that is the process, which I just did in the last video. And my preference is, this is me now, so you can use it, but I wouldn't, is gesso, okay? I used to use it years ago. It's a heavy medium. If you don't water it down, and you can water it like crazy, and it still comes out heavy. It's just a heavy medium. It's like a chalk almost that fills your voids of the details that you put on the feathers. And like I said in the video, I don't know if I made myself clear, I'm in the comment section that I got from you, somebody was mentioning that they did seal it, and I guess they used the gesso too. I wasn't quite sure how they did it, but when you use gesso gets into those voids, which is your detail marks, and you lose some of the detail. Now, some people like that because it softens the feather up, but the whole problem is that you're going to find out with me is I don't like to use gesso, because I use the titanium white paint watered down, and just like I was just showing you a second ago, there's ghosting going on where the burn underneath shows, so you can actually see the feathers still. And then in the breast area, we got it white. Now, the reason why I go with titanium white paint, the acrylic, is what you don't know, and this is what I was trying to allude to, is later on in these videos, after we get done painting, I'm going to start burning on top of the paint. You can't do that with gesso. Gesso will just pop right up, and you'll get a lot of white showing where you want to put burned areas in, and that's not what we're looking for. This is called the spotted sandpiper, so we are going in and put spots in, and I'm going to show you how to do that with a burning pen. You can also burn on the feathers in the wings to put some shadowing if you want to do that too. That's optional, and that is why I don't use gesso. If you hit the pen, that hot tip is going to raise up that white, and now you're going to have a problem showing white. So I don't use gesso. That's just me. I'm going to try to make it as clear as can be. You can use it, but then you won't be able to do what I'm trying to do. Then you're going to have to start. When we start marking the breast area out, we're going to have to use paint, okay? Or you will anyway, because you'll have a hard time trying to get the effect I'm trying to show you, okay? So there's different ways of going about this. And for those who have used gesso, you're probably going to paint in areas, and I'll try to talk to you through that area when we get there, okay? So I just want to let you know that. So, but gesso is not my favorite, okay? I do have it. I do use it on canvases when I'm painting. It makes the canvas nice and smooth. After I put it on, you can sand it a little bit, and it has a nice smooth surface that you can get. And there's probably other uses for the gesso, okay? But I even have a black gesso. Not that I even use that. Somebody gave it to me. But you know, it's just like a reverse of the white. You know, not that I want to put that on anything. Most of the time, we're trying to get a base white so that when we apply paint, we know what we're getting on top of that, and we're building so we can see, you know. I guess, you know, there's different ways of painting, you know. Some paints go from light to dark, and then there's others, I believe it's oils, go from dark to light, okay, or something like that. I'll get it right. But anyway, for those who are artists, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm guiding you through the way I do it. That's not saying you can't do it other ways, okay? Other ways of doing it, okay? But just want to give you a heads up on that. You know, maybe there was some confusion, and I'm not trying to confuse you. If I can iron it out, I'll try to do that, okay? So we're going to start painting the sandpiper. So this will be several steps, and if you bear with me, we'll try to get you there, okay? So I'm going to bring the camera over. I'm going to show you how I mix things, what we do, a little more prepping, okay? And I hope everybody, like I said, got it to this point on the sandpiper, okay? And we'll show you how to go from here. So bear with me, and I'll bring the camera down. Here we go. Okay. First thing we want to do, just to get things started, is the eye itself has paint on it. So to alleviate any problems, I have like a cup of water in front of me here. I don't know if you see it or not. And I'm just going to get that wet. And then I'm going to come in and wet the eye. Okay. Now, I'm just trying to soften that. I don't know how much it's going to do, but I'm going to get just an X-Acto knife. Any knife will do. And what I want you to do is just slide it over the glass, nice and easy. You shouldn't scratch it, but just go easy. And the paint will really loosen up, okay? So, trying to get you. Now, don't go so hard that you go knocking the putty out or anything like that. You're just trying to get a clear brown eye with the pupil showing back. Now, just to help yourself out, I'm going to wet the brush again. And then if I just go over the glass, I could see if I got everything loosened. Now, I see a little speck or two of white, so I'll just go in. Just go nice and easy around the eye and clean that out. And hopefully, we'll get it out of there. Okay, so you can see a nice clean eye, okay? For the most part. Now, go and do the other side. I'm going to come in here, just soften out with a little bit of water right in there. It's just water. Then I'm just going to real gentle go over the eye. Don't want to hammer into the putty that we had it put in there. And I get that all moving. Then I'll do the other end here. Hope you can see this well. I know my biggest problem is sometimes I try to stay in range, and I tend to walk when I'm doing something and not paying attention that I'm staying in the range of the camera. So apologize if I do that. So here we go. I'm coming out, getting most of that white off of there, but I can still see some more. So what I'm going to do is come back, get around. Like I say, be gentle around the putty, because you're not trying to knock any of that out. You're just trying to, and it should come off fairly easy. The paint off the eyes. Just a little moist brush should take most of that out of there. Okay, I see a little bit at the bottom here. Just right there. And it comes off easy, okay? And you're not really scratching the heck out of the glass. You know, you're not even going that hard. I'm hardly putting any pressure. Okay, now we got the bird looking back at us, okay? Now what I want to do, before we get into the washes here, I'm going to at least get some color on the beak. So let's start with that for starters. We're going to be using, it's a raw sienna to start, okay? And raw sienna is Liquitex. Could be anybody's raw sienna, so don't get so hung up on, I just like Liquitex. That's my preference, but you can get anybody's and it'll work. You want the acrylic, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this, and I'm going to put, maybe about a pea size of paint in there, okay, in the tray. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a small brush, which is the one I've been using to clean the eyes. And I'm going to put just a drop or two of water here. I'll come in and put some more drops in here. I'm going to actually flood this. I'm going to make this a wash eventually, but I'm going to pick up some of the heavy stuff like this and come in here. I'm probably even going to take more. I'm really looking for a heavy mix, okay? So it's what I call like a one coat. Not that it's that heavy, but it's a creamy color here. I want all the paint dissolved, but just making sure I mix it. I'm going to go to the towel here shortly, so you could probably see. Now I'm taking most of the paint. I'm trying to get it dissolved into the water, and then I sort of rake off what I have on the brush, okay? And you don't want it runny, okay? Now, if I hit this on the paper towel, just so you can see how thick it comes, okay? That's the weight you want. You know, you don't want something that's so faded out. You're looking for that initial cover. So I'm going to come in here and let me get my optivisor. I'm a magnifying mirror here. me and my eyeballs are starting to get together here, so I need more magnification every time I get into this, and it's helpful for me. So here we go. And like I said, if anybody is ever interested in these optivisors, I carry them. I have them with lights. I have them just straight out, like the optivisor, the one I use. But I have them with like 3 lenses and so on. And they're fairly inexpensive. So if you're ever interested, definitely contact me. It's not in my catalog, but I don't have everything in my catalog. Now, I've got this charged up. Okay, I come in here, take the excess off, because I don't want this fully loaded and watery. So I'm going to come in. I just want to do the beak. So I'm going to come in where the beak should be. Okay. And if you get some on the body, don't worry about it, but try to be pretty good with this. We're going to get the initial coat on this. That's not saying we ain't going to come back and visit this again. That's always the case. But here we go. Hope I stayed in camera so you could see what I was doing. Now, you're starting to see color on there right away, you know. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this color right on there. Now, I'm trying to stay specifically on the beak. Okay. And then I'm going to come around, get into the nostril. This comes back to here. Okay. This comes back to here. Okay. All right. That's our first coat. I'm going to rinse my brush out. I'm always going to try to get you into the habit of rinsing your brush out in water, and then just roll your brush and leave it moist, so that you don't ruin your brushes. If you have good brushes, you want to take care of them. Now, the thing that I want to show you is, and let me see if I can bring this over. I'm going to ask you, if you don't have a hair dryer, just let it dry. This will take a little longer for you if you don't have it. But if you do have it, the hair dryer is excellent for drying things real fast. And with us doing a lot of washes and stuff like that, you can speed up your process. And we need to give a couple of coats. This is actually just the first coat. So here we go. I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be a little noisy. And I blow it away from the paint and the paintbrush, okay? You don't want to blow this over the paint. You're not trying to dry the paint out. You're trying to dry the paint off the bird, or on the bird, I should say. And we're just trying to get this dry as fast as we can so we can give it another coat and just keep on going. And that's what we're going to do with the washes too. We're going to perform the same thing again. And I just saw something I missed on this side that I got on the other side. So we'll take care of that too. Not a big deal. I think with that, we're probably in good shape. Now, what I missed was this beak needs more paint down here. I just missed it, so that happens sometimes. So I charge my brush up again, take the excess off, and then I'm going to come in here, this slides back like this, right here. Remember we had that C? So I'm going to come in here and get that on. So I'll do that first. Then I'm going to come in, charge my brush, make sure it's not runny, okay? And this is, like I said, on the heavy side a little bit. So I'm just going in one direction and just trying to drag it. I'm getting into the nostril. I'm getting right up to the feathers. I hope you're seeing this. I'm doing it again. Maybe walking out of view here. So I'm coming in again. I'm giving it a second coat. And the second coat, I think, should do it. And I may have to hit a third coat down here, but that's only because I missed it a little bit. And then the underneath side here as well. But I'll get back to that. We're going to put several coats of paint on the beak here anyway, so we're not done. This is just a initial, let's get the beak out of the way routine, okay? So, again, rinse your brush out. I'm always trying to conserve on your brushes. You can spend some good money for brushes, and you can buy some cheap ones too. And the cheap ones today, especially the synthetics, tend to hold up. If you're looking for brushes, I have some inexpensive ones. I have some sables if you want that aren't that expensive neither. They're the more preferred ones, but I sometimes, the synthetics are really super these days. And you get these, here's like a flat brush, you know, these here are nice. I have, you know, real thin ones too, like this. They're not bad at all. And if you ever need brushes, I have those too. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to dry this a second time here, just to get this out of the way. Now, this is just a couple of coats that we're putting on the beak, just initially to get it started, okay? We will come in and we will enhance the beak a little bit more. We'll be putting some shadowing in here, and there's some what I call dirty marks that are on the beak that we will get later, and we'll concentrate on that. This isn't the end all for the beak. Now, here we go. Let me get this, put it off to the side. Now, I'm going to go with a heavier brush. I don't know what the number, this is number 6, but you can have 6, 7, 8. I'm going to rinse this brush. I'm going to now, let me go into this one. This is the one we started with. It was like a pea size. We borrowed some of that to make some heavy. This is, and this one are about the same consistency. That's not what I want now. Now, I'm going to at least put 3/4 of a cup of water in here. And I'm going to stir this real good. Okay. This is now a wash. This one here is what I call like a coating that would be like a heavier coat where you almost get instant paint color rather than a wash. I'm going to show you in a second here is really just a very light coat that goes over here. And I want to start with this to start, just to get some color on here. And we will do a build-up as we go. And in some areas, we're gonna paint everything, and then we're gonna come back and put other paints on top of it, and we just keep on doing this. So just to give you an idea, let's see how we are here. If I touch this, see how it like fades, and it's very watery. I'm going to even do a little more water. Okay, I'm still going to save that just in case. You know, if you ever get too watery, then you just add a little bit more. But I'm going to try to show you what you're trying to achieve. Now, I'm taking the excess water off of here. You never want to go right from the cup onto the piece and it starts running on you, you know. So I'll show you that. But here, see how it lightens up? You can see this was real heavy. That's the heavy mix. This here, I added more water to this here, and that was the first one. Now, with the water I added, you can see how it fades even more, okay? That's what I want. I'm going to put a coat over the head, some of the breast area, and I will show you the limits that I want, okay? So let me get the bird back. And here we go. I'm going to charge my brush up, okay? Take the excess off so it's not so runny, okay? It's wet, it's not real wet. Now, I'm going to start up here on the head, and I'm going to add the paint, and I'm dragging it. You can go right into the eye and out the other side. Not a big deal. You're doing it right up to the beak. And I'm going to take this off right now. It's handy to have, but I like the finger paint, I should say. But I have a camera in front of me, so it's sort of limiting with the height. So bear with me on this. So I take the excess off because you could see when I come out, it's not like it's so runny. You know, I'm sort of pushing the paint. That's what I want to do. I don't want this real runny, you know. You're going to experience, if you get it too runny, now you're chasing the paint all over here. You don't want to do that. So I try to get it down to a minimum so that I can handle it. See, like that first one there, it seemed like I had a paint, so I just keep on dragging it. I'm trying to keep this going in one direction if I can, to just keep a consistent wash on here. Now, let me see something here. I have one done off to the side here, and I just reference that at times. Take the excess off, come back in here. And I'm not worried if yours is a little darker than mine, that's okay too. I'm going to come down into here, this breast area. I'm sort of coming down off of here where the cheek is, right here, and stay off the breast area over here. And I'm almost taking a line of action from here down to here with the wash. Okay, and then I come up onto what I call the mantle here, okay? So take that, and then I'm always trying to move the paint that I have on my brush so that we have a nice consistent wash, okay? And if you get, say we came down too far on here, here's what you do. You rinse your brush out in water, get that out, and then you can come right back and pick that up, and you can lighten that. Your brush, to some extent, is like an eraser, so you can take some of that right off, okay? And if you had it, which was really there, you can always get a little bit of white and have that in another tray and then just blend it. But you don't want a hard line. You want this transition of this color, and it sort of fades as it gets into the white, and that's what you're trying to achieve, okay? You don't want a hard line, and that means where you have a distinct difference between one and the other. So here we go. I'm coming down on this side. Here's my breast right here. So I don't want to get into the throat area. I'm just coming back, coming down through here, coming down through here, and I'm trying to get, see, this is what I call like a hard line. If you wanted to soften that, and there's one that happened over here that I didn't handle. I'm going to show you what happens. While it's still trying to set up, I can just come in and I can pick up some of that. And if we don't get enough, later on, we could touch that up with white, okay? But here's the hard line. So what I do, just rinse my brush out, take all the paint out, and just come along and soften that area right in there, just right there. So it has a nice fade into the white. Now I got to come down into this area, and then we start moving down onto the feathers on the back. And I did, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come into here. I'm not going into the breast feathers. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to dance around the breast feathers here, okay, like this. I hope you can see this well. I don't want to go up there. Okay, so I'm putting this on. If you notice, you don't see a lot of runniness on here. You try to keep it under control. And you'll get an experience for how much the brush will hold. And then, you say it's like wet right there, but if we move that and just keep on moving it, it just gets to be the same amount of wash all over, okay? At a consistent wash, okay? So, I'm going to try to get that on that side. Now, the trick is not to put your fingers on. That's where this device that I had, for those who want to get it in there, you don't have to worry about handling it. But here's me. I gotta make sure I don't get my fingers into the wash, okay? And that's what that device will sort of help you out. Now, on this side, I'm coming up to the breast, but I'm not trying to go onto the breast. I'm just trying to get in there as close as I can, all the way down to the end of my feathers here. Charge up the brush, take the excess off so you're not so runny. Can't stress that enough, or you'll be chasing water all over the place here and washes. So, trying to take it off, come down, get a nice. If you notice, I'm sort of going in one direction. You know, I'll come back in areas here. If it looks like it's getting heavy in one spot too, I'll just sort of drag it down. But I want you to get one nice even coat on everything, and I'm going to try to show you that. Okay. Now you can see this is a little heavier over here. Well, maybe not all of it, but we'll do it again here. And this is a little lighter in here, so I just come in with a little bit more. We're going to put several coats on here anyway, but just this is very subtle, you know. As I said to my classes as when we start painting, is you're not painting a porch. It's not like you got a green bucket of paint and you're starting to paint the porch and you got to see that green on there. Well, washes, sometimes you could put washes on, you never really see it. It's that watered down, but you can go from a light area, and then after it dries, you do like about 1/8 of an inch back, then do another wash, and then 1/8 of an inch back, and you dry it in between, and you go from a soft color on this side to a darker color as we go down. So that is something you have to learn, and it's with patience. And the hair dryer really helps you get there. Now, once in a while, you may have had oils in your hand, and it gets on the piece, and then the piece wants to fight you as far as taking the paint. That happens once in a while too. So, but you can overcome that. It will coat. Now I'm going to do the tail, and I'm trying to do the underneath side here too, as we had. Just get enough to get a coat here, like so. I hope all this is in your camera range. Shoot myself if it isn't. And I'm going to do the edges. And make sure you get to the edge. Now, I'm going to hold this and flip it around. As long as I'm holding the breast area, I'm okay. Now, I'm going to do the underneath side just in the feather area, not the rump. I'm doing just the tail feathers. Okay, and make sure you get in under this here too. You're trying to get that. All right, now rinse your brush out. Roll so it has a nice point. See how it goes into a point? Now I'm going to dry this. This is pretty close to a nice smooth coat of a wash on there. Now I'm going to dry it. You're not aiming at the paint. You're not aiming at the brushes. You're holding this thing out, and you're aiming for the air to go away from the piece. I'm doing it in front of you here, but I would pull the whole thing to the side of the table here and get away from the paint completely. But I want to try to get you to see what I'm trying to do here. And I want to give it doesn't take that long to dry, especially a wash, because it's not so heavily concentrated, okay? So as long as you got most of this pretty soft, and say like this area right here in the neck, if it didn't come out 100%, don't worry about it. You just don't want a real hard line, you know? The hard line may be where the breast lays onto the wing feathers here, and we want this white looking like it's going in over the colored feathers here. So that's the only time. Where you have a softness, it's from here to here. This goes from this color into this, and it sort of blends. You don't want like a real hard line in there. That's very important. So that's one coat. And I think that got it as far as washes. Now, I'm going to do another coat, okay? And we're going to be playing this game here for a while, so you gotta bear with me here. And I'm going to try to do everything in front of you. I know a lot of times people want me to only do one side and not the other. In cases of paint, I got to coat an area, okay, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. You just have to bear with me a little bit, okay, because nothing wants to. I want you to see how I do it, okay, with painting. Painting is like it's a staging. You do each one, and I think you need to see it. Now I'm going to give it a second coat. See how runny it is? That my brush really held a lot there, but I'm moving it. It's not so runny that it's a problem, okay? I'm going to come down here, and I don't want to get right to the edge here, okay? And if need be, we can always add a little white to do the transition from white into that with just a little white. So don't get so hung up if you have a hard edge too. Well, we got ways of taking care of that as well. So I'm coming in here with a second coat now. And I come down here. I try not to get right up to where we left off. I keep in a little bit, Okay, remember I said if you keep on inching in, it looks like it goes from light to a little bit of this raw sienna, and it keeps on getting more intense as we come in. Okay, so now I got the head almost done. Now I'm just going to keep on moving, and I'm using a wash, not anything heavy. Now I know some people, they give me that heavy stuff. Wham! I got to, that I said before, people want to paint the porch. It's all one color. It's just go at it, Well, that's the beauty of washes. You have a subtlety to the colors, and we're going to mix more than one color here. We're just starting. So I'm trying to do this in stages. Now, in some areas where you see I didn't really clean my brush up as far as I want more paint, I want to get into the nooks and crannies here too. You don't want any white showing in the areas where I'm putting washes. So if you need to have your brush a little more wetter, that's fine too. But you got to make sure that you know what you're controlling, okay? This is all washes. This has nothing to do with, what's the name? The heavy paint, okay? It's all watered down. And you got to have the patience here. It gives you a nice look at the end, and it's my way of painting. If you, some of you that may be very adept at airbrushing can do this a lot quicker. If you know how to control the airbrush, you can put these washes on like this a lot faster. And if you know how to control the paint with an airbrush, that's great. But I find I want to get better at it, but I'm not there. So I use a brush. I'm like old school, and nothing wrong with that. But it's one of those things where you have to see some airbrushing sometime. I may try to get a friend of mine who's very good at that, maybe showing you how to do airbrushing. I'll have to see if I can get him going on that, but that means more equipment and everything else for you guys. The brush is your equipment, and a paint tube with water. We're good to go here. I always say, and I tell a lot of people, use what you have. And that's what we're doing. I hate to tell you how many different airbrushes I got and everything else, but I'm like old school. You could start seeing some coloring coming up, pretty good. It's starting to take shape as far as color goes. This is just a start. So I'm going to probably make several videos of the painting here, and I'm going to take you slowly through this, but I'm going to try to do it economically so that when you mix this, you were able to do the beak. And you could see how intense this beak is compared to the washes, that covers it. And we're almost like there, with the beak color. Almost. We're not really there, but, and then you can see this is a lot softer. We are going to get darker yet, and we're going to put markings on all of this once we get going here. So let me coat this under here. Now, you also have along this wing here, it's cupped, remember? So it's not the breast, it's where the underneath side of the wing comes down. There's a little bit there. You may want to just give it, here it is here. Oop. I missed that. I missed a feather completely down here. Look at this. Put this one down here. There it is here. Wow. So get that. And then I'm going to come in where it rolls over and get that right on back. There you go. And I only want that done one time on that underneath side, because the feathers on the underneath side, I'm going to come back and hit this a second time just to help it get caught up. Because the feathers on the underneath side of the bird are a different color. They're almost like a similar color, except they're lighter. So they're more intense on top. I don't know if you've ever seen bird feathers. A lot of them, they look beautiful from the top, but then they fade on the underneath side. Now, we gave this 2 coats, and I would say let's go with that for now. So you're going to clean your eyes. You're going to go with the heavier concentrate on the beak, and then you're going to go with washes. That's about 3/4 of a cup of water to a pea size, and you want to make sure it looks like this on your paper towel. This is really where you want it. That was before I added a little more water to it, and that's what it came out. Okay, so if you can get like that coloration on your paper towel, you're sort of close then. And you're giving this 2 coats. Now, I'm going to let this just dry, because I'm going to end this video right here to get you started, okay? And remember, if you don't want to get into the throat area, like right here, right now, I don't have white here, no, I'm not going to take it out. I'm a little over right here, and you can see it on this side where it's white. This, I'll just come in with a little white later and keep that on the white side, okay? But if you don't get the transition right, remember I said you can come in as you're adding the paint and it gets down into here, rinse your brush out just with water, and then come in and pick it right up. And it acts like a sponge, and you can wipe your brush out and come back and do it again, and it'll soften it out, okay? As long as you're just applying. Now, the hard edge, which is you're butting right up to these breast feathers, which are laying over, I want you to come right in there into the nooks and crannies, so that the paint's going right up in there. Like this is breast feathers like laying over. We're gonna even dirty up the breast feather down the road, but the idea is you want a definite difference here, okay? And this will give you the illusion of these feathers fluffed up laying over this, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. So if you can get it to this, great. And then on the next one, I'll show you a couple more washes that we'll get on here. Not this. We're using just one color today, and I want to try to keep you focused in that. Then we'll get into really driving the nuts with a lot of different patterning that goes on these feathers, okay? And so bear with me, and I hope you enjoyed what you've learned so far. I'm trying to get you one step at a time, and I'm not trying to overload you, and you should dry them in between, okay, on all of it. Same way with the beak. Beak gets 2 coats of the heavy stuff. We've put 2 coats nice and even in one direction. Make sure you don't have any white showing in between, and that'll be great. And we're going to continue on with this, okay? So if you enjoyed what you see, I would ask you to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And if you have friends that may be interested, I would really appreciate if you pass my information on. I'm trying to get as many viewers as I can. It helps in my count for YouTube, and hopefully it will help you improve your carving and stuff like that. And that is what I'm trying to achieve. So I also want to tell you, I do have catalogs that have kits for like this bird or a lot of the other ones. I've got, I don't know, maybe 230 or 240 videos out there of several different birds. I also did otters, and I have kits for those too. So if you're interested in any of that, the kits come with feet, eyes, a blank and pattern, and just write to me, give me an email, and it's to my email you want to send it. It's Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7 at gmail.com. And I will get a catalog out to you. I'll also have my telephone number on there. If you have any questions, you can either write to me or you can call me. I'll gladly try to help you out. And if you need some advice on what to get or not to get, you don't have to buy everything. You don't need everything. If you have things, use them. That's my motto. So, but if you need stuff, I have like the Optivisor that I use, which is this one here. You don't really see it. I don't have it in the catalog, but my catalog has a lot of stuff in it, and it's the main stuff. Now, if anybody was ever trying to get like moss, I use moss in a it's called reindeer moss, and I use this in a setting where I actually put this around a setting, and I'll show that to you another time. And it just enhances the look, as if like you got grass growing around or some clumps of moss growing. This is great. And if you need that, I have like a bag of that. If you're doing a winter scene and you're looking for snow, this is great. You put some glue down, white glue, and then sprinkle this, and you got snow. And this comes out really neat. So I have these available also. So if there's any time you may need something or advice on it, like in the wintertime, I've done some, cardinals. And the cardinal in the wintertime, I'll make it a little fluffier. And I have one that head's turned like 90 degrees. It's kind of a neat one to do. And I got it fuller because they usually fluff themselves up in the wintertime to keep themselves warm. And then what I'll do sometime with the snow is sprinkle it onto the wood, some of it a little on the bird after it's all painted and everything else. Like it's just laying on there. You don't have to do a lot, just a little bit. And then you can do the surroundings around it with some snow like it's falling. Really comes out neat. So there's different ways of doing things. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And on this, I'm going to show you different ways of mounting this when we get to that point. I have one with a sand mounting. I got another one with pebbles that I actually carve. I'll show you all that stuff. So hope you enjoyed this one. And like I said, if you can pass my information on, that'd be great. And I also really appreciate people that have contributed to my channel monetarily. That was great. I really appreciate that. I used to teach about 4 classes a week. Now I'm just doing YouTube. So anything's really appreciated. If you would do that for me, that'd be great. So I hope you like what you see. So see you on the next video, and you want to get to this point. Okay, so have a good one, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye now.